beat that thing. And we're live.
What up, what up?
Thank you for joining us today at Triad Hip Hop Podcast. I am Howard. Gentleman to the right of me, your left.
Kurt Dog, what's up, y'all?
And today, this is going to be, one is a special episode because this is episode number 45, so we 5 away from 50, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, I'm pretty sure that I don't know if anybody that has viewed or watched this has watched the Breakfast Club interview with Lyor Cohen. This is today is like a very important discussion. I myself, me and Curtis, and we watched the interview twice. Also, Professor Griff of Public Enemy. If those who don't know Griff was the Minister of Information and Public Enemy. He had a response as well, and of course, Dame Dash had a rebuttal response as well. So we're gonna get into it. Give us a few seconds. We're gonna add some people, and we're going to get it started. And let me see. Well, wait a minute. Ooh, okay. Wait a minute. Nope. So what's going on, Curtis, man?
Not much, man. Special shout out to I see my man Emmanuel was watching, aka Kickboy Triple. What's up, man?
What up?
We're gonna have you on the show next weekend. So for all y'all watching, check him out. My man Kickboy Triple. He out there doing his music. He got a new single out called Give Him Hell. So we definitely gonna plug that. We definitely shared that in the group. So y'all check that out. It's good music, man. We need that for the culture. You know what I mean? We need that good music for the culture. And for me, everything has been good. It's been a long week. I wasn't feeling too good this week, so missed a couple of days of work. So, but I'm doing better now. And another good thing that's been going on for me, my new book is out, and I just got my first copies in the mail. So I want to definitely plug that a little bit. The book is called Subject to Change, Transformation Through the Power of...
Okay, sorry about that. Somebody's trying to sell me some Avon products.
we got people being culture vultures.
Yeah, I'm for real, man.
But anyway, so the new book is called Subject to Change, Transformation Through the Power of Perception. And I'm going to show y'all a little close-up of it so y'all can see it a little bit better. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's it right there. And it's on Amazon, it's on Kindle. You can get the paperback, you can get the ebook. Definitely, happy about it. It's a game changer, and I'm getting some good feedback from it. So really happy about that. And if y'all want to support, definitely look that up on Amazon. I'll share the links to it on the Triad page a little bit later. But other than that, man, that's been my week. I'm working on some other projects too. I got another book that I'm working on for a lady. She wants to do a children's book, so I'm working with her on that. So we getting that worked out. I just stay busy, man. That's all you can do. Once you get lax, you just get stale. You can't just sit there and get stale on them. So, what you say, Dominic? Kindle only gives you samples. That's because you gotta buy it, my man. You gotta buy it.
Yeah, man. You gotta support the dude, man.
Yeah,
you gotta buy the product just to get the product. You gotta buy the product to get the product. You gotta buy the product to get the product.
Exactly. We gotta make these, make these changes in our lives, man. So if you want to help get that started, if you're looking for some change, this is the book to do it. I'm telling you right now. So, Raphael is here. What's up, Rob?
What up, Rob?
What up? What up? So, Kindle gives you the whole book, man. You just gotta pay for it. If you hit the sample, that's all they're gonna give you is a few pages of a sample. just so you can get a taste of what's going on. But if you pay for it, you get the whole book. They can't give you just a part of the book is if you pay for it. So definitely let me know if you have any other problems getting the book.
I mean, that's what you gotta do. I mean, that's like the drug game, man. They ain't gonna give you the whole shit. They gonna give you little samples.
Right.
They ain't the initial hit, and you gonna get the money off.
They need that comeback.
That's the comeback.
That's the comeback, yo. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, this whole episode, we're pretty much gonna focus on this Lyor Cohen interview, and the responses from Professor Griff and the responses from Dame Dash. And even a little bit of Joe Budden, because he has some things to say that we want to talk about too. Yeah. So what's been going on for you, man?
Well, man, not much. Give me a second as I invite these people, but I can go ahead and tell you. Next Wednesday I'll be in school, trying to finish up, trying to get my associate degree in arts.
That's what's up. What's up.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time coming, man. I've been out of school for about God knows how long, but I mean, I found out, like I told y'all probably a couple months back, I found out that I was just like a few classes short of actually getting a degree. And I was like, well, you know what? If I'm that close, I mean, I might as well go ahead and do it.
So, get that accreditation, that title under your belt.
And, I mean, it still don't mean shit. That don't mean I'm gonna get a job or nothing. But at least it'll be an accomplishment for me. Yeah. And that's what I'm gonna try to do.
Yeah, a lot of times, we get to that point where we start something and don't finish it, man. And I used to do that too, and I'm trying to get to that point where I don't do that anymore because, when you start something, you got to follow through. That's the only way you're going to move on to the next thing.
Well, and too, sometimes, life happens, man. It ain't just, that's really what it is. Sometimes it just, when I was in school, I mean, not to get super personal, my pops, he kind of split on us while I was during school, So it's like, damn, I'm gonna have to get out here and get a job. So
man,
that's what I had to do.
That's rough, man. That's life, though, man. Like you said, it happens. So sometimes you do gotta put some things on pause and come back to them. I'm just glad to hear that you're coming back to it, making your way in. I see we got Brittany in the room.
What up, Brittany? Ooh.
Thank you for checking us out.
Yep.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you.
I know he appreciates you.
Yeah,
he appreciates the hell out of you.
I sure do.
But yeah, so you come back through anytime you want down here to the Triad Hip Hop Studios.
To the lab. In the lab.
You know what I mean? We're cooking up some stuff.
Cooking, just straight up cooking.
But yeah, man. So, anyways, as soon as Howie gets done, we're gonna jump into this Lyor Cohen thing.
Yeah, I apologize for the. It just what took me so long is this thing is acting up and whatnot. But I got you though. We get
it's all good. I mean, I'll try to give a little setup in case any of y'all don't know. So Lyor is one of those behind the scenes guys in the music industry. One of those executive guys. He came up with in the Russell Simmons, Def Jam era, Rick Rubin, he was with all those guys coming up, and he helped to put a lot of artists on, and but basically they invited him on the Breakfast Club so that he could talk about how he's been in the game and what his influence on the game has been. And a lot of things that people accuse him of, like being what they call a culture vulture. And
shout out to the Breakfast Club. I mean, for real, for doing that. Because they really, to me, I felt that this interview provided a lot of insight of really, what is going on into the hip hop culture. Go ahead.
No, you're good, but I agree. Shout out to the Breakfast Club for doing that because, for one, it's hard getting executive type people to get on an interview or podcast type platform. And so it was good that he agreed, and they were probably one of the few who actually tried to get him on. I'm sure other, people are trying to get him on, but at least they were successful, and we got to hear things from his side. Now, I have to admit, I knew of him, but I never really heard him sit down and talk for a long period of time. And after hearing him talk, I really do feel like he is a culture vulture. You know what I mean? He has basically, what that means is someone who comes into a culture, exploits it, benefits from it, helps other people in the culture benefit a little bit, but their main objective is for their own beneficial means. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what he does. Because he's helped so many people get deals and stuff like that, it looks good on him, but you can kind of tell that he's a person that really is trying to get his own self wealthy. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. He's not really in it for the love of the culture. And it's like, it was so apparent to me because in the interview, he tries to use cultural slang, and you could just tell it was just like weird. Like, you just trying to do that so you can sound like you're part of the culture. Bro, you ain't part of nothing.
And honestly, too, like the slang, I mean, we say old stuff all the time,
right.
Slang to be silly or whatnot, but the thing of it is, I mean, some of the stuff he was saying, like, people don't even say that hardly anymore, like the dope and fresh, and I need that flavor, son.
Right,
like, I understood what he said.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not your own artist is not even using that type of rhetoric and slang anymore. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, to me, go ahead.
Raphael, we talking about Lyor Cohen, and he asked who we talking about. We talking about Lyor Cohen and his involvement in the hip hop music industry and just music in general, and how he's been labeled as what we call a culture vulture. So we're just giving our opinion on that. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to me, I think he was kind of talking down towards the Breakfast Club as well.
Yeah, he did.
Because, I mean, especially when he was like, I wish I could get y'all guys on YouTube. And then he's like sitting right behind the YouTube platform where they had like a million viewers.
Right. It's like,
come
on, man. I mean, but you can just sense when he talks that he's very smart and calculated, but very disingenuous. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. He knows how to set up the language so that he sounds credible. But Lyor Cohen, in my opinion, is a culture vulture. I mean, he just sounds so disingenuous. If you really are someone who's dealt with a lot of people like that, you can kind of pick up on, the insincerity in his voice. You know what I mean? He every now and then he's trying to throw out slang. Yeah, man, dead ass. And it's like, dude, you sound like Donald Trump trying to use a term like dead ass. You know what I mean? You know that you're not that type of person. You're trying to do that just to get people on your side. Oh yeah, he knows the culture. He's using our side.
Let him make America great again. Dead ass. Dead ass.
They asked him about the Kanye.
I tapped that ass. Dead ass. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But no, they asked him about Kanye and the MAGA hat and what he thought about that. He was like, "Oh, I didn't even notice the hat the last."
Was he in the picture? Weren't they in the picture?
Yeah, he was at
How you not notice somebody that you were in the picture with?
He was at the event with Kanye at his place when they called him wearing the "Make America Great Again" hat. So, I mean, it's not, and I'm not trying to hate on Kanye for wearing it. That's his business. You know what I mean? If you want to support whoever you want to support, go ahead. But for somebody like Lyor to say, "Oh, I didn't even know," you know what I mean?
He said, "Dead ass 2020." Dead ass.
Dead ass.
Stupid, man.
I mean, but people could tell, dude is fake. But I mean, for him to try to act like he didn't notice the hat, you know what I mean? When he was right in front of Kanye's face, I was just so overwhelmed by everything else that was going on. Bruh, come on now. You a liar, man. Come on. Nobody, you knew what was going on, but you chose to ignore that. And I mean, it's cool. That's what you want to do. But I can see through you. in my opinion. I can see right through you, but he did that podcast, and then he had made comments about Professor Griff for no reason, of Public Enemy fame. He was like, "Yeah, you remember that time Professor Griff went nuts and went over what was it, Europe?"
Yeah, he went nuts in Switzerland.
Yeah, so it was like
talking about the Caucasus Mountains.
That had nothing to do with nothing. I mean, so for you to offend that man by saying he went nuts, the man didn't go nuts. He just went over there and expressed his opinion about something, you know, about white people and the Caucasus Mountains and all of that garbage. And, you know, it is what it is. That's his opinion.
Which, you know, what he was saying, not to cut you off, but what Griff was saying is, everybody else is now coming out and saying it. Like, it's even on the History Channel.
Right. Exactly.
So, like, why are you blackballing him? You know, now it's like common knowledge.
It's like 20 years ago, 1,000 years ago. So leave it alone, man. Stop trying to shoot, you know, darts at that man when he ain't do nothing. And shout out to my brother Sadiq. He watching with us, you know.
What up?
So, that's my brother from another mother. So, but yeah, definitely, man. This dude Lyor is just as fake as a $4 bill, man. Come on, man. So, you know, but after he did that, Professor Griff, of course, had a response, and Dame Dash, of course, had a response, and Joe Buttons, you know, even weighed in on it and all of that. So, what do you want to what you want to get into? Whose response do you want to get into first?
Well, let's go ahead and focus on Leon a little bit more, just to, you know, and then we'll get to like the Griff. But yeah, to me, I like Curtis said, he was, you know, just to me that whole interview, I think he was just distant. I mean, now there were some things when I watched it the second time, there were some things that he said kind of made sense.
Right.
You know, he kind of, you know, he was talking about, you know, going to the physical copy to streaming. That was a good move, and that liberated, you know, artists. I did get like the whole, like the CD thing was so expensive to make.
Yeah. But it benefited him probably even more than the artist, because like you said, that's less money that he got to spend on producing a physical product, since it's all digital. You know what I mean?
Well, on top of that too, with the physical copies, especially with CDs, even I think back in the day when you did contracts and stuff, I think, was it 20%? I can't remember, but this is when I took recording technology. Yeah. But 20% went to you know, investment in technology towards the CD,
right?
You know, developing it and everything like that. So I mean, artists, you know, back in those days, they would have to pay that. You know, and then also, you know, the other stuff on it, you know, would come along with the record deal as well.
Right.
So going back to, like I said, the streaming idea, I mean, that's a good, you know, I agree with him on that. It's good that it's good for artists.
Yeah.
However, now, you know, the whole interview, well, not the whole interview, but parts of the interview, he was promoting YouTube.
Right.
You know, now because he's the executive of the YouTube music.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he has direct influence as far as the whole YouTube censor thing.
Right.
You know, a lot of people getting censored. For instance, Willie D, for example, well, he got his page back up, but I mean, they took his page down for a while because of, you know, some things that happened and what he said. So, does he play a role in that? You know?
I think he does.
Yeah,
I think he does. I mean, you way up there. I mean, you ain't no low level person. You know what I mean? You up there in the ranks with YouTube. You know what I mean? So that to me is so much bullshit that you even just, you know, would take somebody's page down to censor what they got to say. You know what I mean? Now, you know, I mean, I admit you should probably, you know, do something and say, hey, you know, we don't like the language you use. You know, if you want to do videos, we ask that you maybe tone it down a bit or something. But just to shut down somebody's whole channel, that's whack to me, man. That's whack to just take somebody off the air. You just basically saying there's no freedom of speech here.
I mean, that, and then also you've seen this happen with Alex Jones. I mean, Not that I'm a fan of Jones, but at the same time, it's important too because if they're attacking his channel, what's stopping them from attacking your channel?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you come out with something against them, that's not on the agenda of theirs.
Right.
So I mean, again, like I said, I mean, not to support Alex Jones or anything like that, but I mean that's just kind of scary. And then the fact that you can't really face your accuser, like, hey, it's all right if you accuse me, but let me sit down face to face and see why this happened. Right. Instead of just like, oh, we're pulling you, I'm pulling you from like a remote switch from like some little bat cave, or right? And like, bam, you're gone. But instead of just sitting down, like, hey, okay, this is the reason why we feel that we did this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just don't, to me, it just don't, I think it's kind of cowardly.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And I mean, you can just tell what kind of guy the dude is, like I said, by listening to him. So I didn't even have to hear the responses to know, just how fake he was. You know what I mean? I could just hear it.
Yeah, you could kind of feel it. And then I mean, and I'll admit there are certain things, like I said, when I went back to listen to the interview, there were certain things, again, like I said, with the streaming and all that stuff, there are certain things I agreed with. There are certain things I understood his viewpoint,
right?
About like paying with eyeballs and making sure that, people, they can't afford the subscription, right? But, we're paying through like viewership. I understand that. But, and also when the question came up with the artist, like, you take, what was it, issues over talent. He's talking about talent. And then he's talking about, I talked to all these artists that, they got lean on, what I'm saying, they got lean on the, lean in the cup or whatnot. He's like, well, I say that you're a junkie and stuff, but most of the artists you got on there is doing lean.
He's doing that, yeah. Because, I mean, that's
or
another reason. Yeah, that's another reason why you can tell you fake. Because he went on this whole rant at first, talking about if I see an artist who's doing that, and I'll tell him you're a junkie, and you need to stop, and you're a junkie, and this and that, and I'll tell them to their face. And then they was like, okay, but a lot of the artists you got are like that. And, oh, well, I mean, but it's talent over issue. So if they got talent,
I got to line up my...
I got to pay my bills.
I got my family's feet. I like what Charlamagne did. Like, man, they're going to take a clip of... Dame Dash going to take a clip of this. She's going to call you a culture vulture.
Exactly. And that's what it is. Yeah. I mean, but Dame Dash been talking about that for years. And so...
And how divisive he was about it. Who's Dame Dash?
Right.
Like, really?
Fake, man.
Like, dude, come on, man. You know
who
he is. And you made money with
it. That was one of the first things that pissed me off. Because I'm like, okay, so now you act like you don't know the dude.
Like, you don't forget people you make money with.
Joe Budden talked about that. He was like, well, I didn't take it that way. I just took it as, he was just saying, that's not my fault that Dame Dash is going through this and that. No, that's different. He said, who is Dame Dash? I don't know him. I mean, that's blatant disrespect right there. You know what I mean? Somebody you done been in pictures with who done actually checked you on stuff and had conversations with you.
And built an empire by himself, really, with the, help Jay and everybody build an empire.
Exactly. And we know for a fact that, you were a big part of Rockefeller breaking up. You know what I mean? Because
even bigger part of Public Enemy breaking up.
Yeah. So it's like you doing the same thing. You getting in people's ear and telling them how, oh yeah, you'll be better off if you do things this way because you're looking out for your best interest. And so you're basically saying this guy might mess up a good thing that we have. You might want to split up. But that's basically what happened to Public Enemy and Professor Griff. And now, with Rockefeller. And of course, he tried to deny that, if they were friends, that, they wouldn't have had nothing to do,
Nothing should came between
it don't matter, man. They were friends, but they had two different roles. So you went to the person you knew who was a little more money hungry, like Jay. Jay is a money alcoholic, you know what I mean? He's a cakeaholic, if you would. So he went to Jay and was just basically, got in his ear. And so now we don't have Rockefeller, you know what I mean? So And it is what it is, but I really don't like his tactics, and I can just tell that he's not good for the culture. Now, I ain't gonna deny that he's helped a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
he has. I mean, he's given a lot of artists deals and made a lot of people rich.
LL Cool J, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys. I mean, also some stuff in the, stuff through Irv Gotti. Right. I think they were talking about he put some of that stuff together.
But it's like you don't really have a place in the culture per se, except an executive position. So you're not a culturally, a culturally relative person like somebody like a Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin is actually for the culture. He's white, but he's still for our culture because he knows, you know what I mean. He's not looking at it just I want to make money off these black guys. That's what I feel like Lyor is, a person that's just like, oh, these dudes is coming up on something that's a cash cow, and I'm gonna get into that arena.
Y'all get to work,
right?
Y'all get on that down yourself.
Yeah, so that's the difference. You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with being white and being in the culture, but you can just tell he's not really for the culture. Because when they was asking him questions, the Breakfast Club was like, yo, why you ain't never try to be in the game? Be an artist and do that. Oh, well, I'm just me, and yeah, you're right. You are just you because you ain't got nothing to do with the culture. You just want to make money from the culture. I mean, he started out as Run DMC's road manager and then worked his way up the ranks and all of that. And my thing is, he knows how to make money. So I think because he knows how to make money, and he can, he's got a little eye and an ear for talent and all of that. I think that's how he worked his way in the ranks. But if you're going based off of just somebody being in the culture and his position being a non-person of color, I would have rather somebody like Rick Rubin be where he's at right now. You know what I mean?
That started that did Loud, Steve. I forgot his name.
Steve Stout.
Yeah, I mean he. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He put. He was responsible for putting. The Woo, Mobb Deep, and all those cats together. Yeah. I mean, but now I don't really know too much about his background to speak about that. As far as if he's the culture vulture or not.
But yeah, I mean, so it's one of those things, man. I mean, I don't need any further proof myself that that's what he is. You know what I mean? It's like I said, I didn't even have to hear the responses. When I heard him speak out his own mouth, I could tell. I was like, oh, okay.
I think that in that interview, that's the thing I wanted to say. It was very telling.
Yeah,
it was very telling about really what he thought about us. As a culture.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and, switch. Let's go ahead and talk about Griff's response.
Oh, yeah. So, Professor Griff did an interview, and, it was like a 30-minute interview, 30, 40 minutes, I think.
Brother Rich. I like when he says that. That shit just said, I be doing this. Brother Rich. That's how it begin. Brother Rich. It's like when he say that shit, that be hilarious.
Right. Yeah, Professor Griff is funny, man. He keeps me laughing, yo. He keeps it real. I mean, he speaks his mind and he don't care who, hears it. And, he talked about how he's basically, he says he's felt like Dame Dash has felt. For years he's felt like people like Lyor were culture vultures and that they don't belong and that, they shouldn't be able to get in there and break up a good thing. You know what I mean? And honestly, I kind of feel that because it don't matter how good your friendship is. Sometimes when you can still have a good friendship, but if they tell you, well, this is business versus your friendship, that's personal. So in business, y'all don't need to be together. Personally, outside the business, y'all good. But here, y'all shouldn't. If somebody gets in your ear in the right way, even if you're good friends, you can be the best of friends and they'll still screw you up. So for him to say, oh, well, if Dame and Jay were good friends, it doesn't matter what I say. It shouldn't. But basically, you're admitting that you was in his ear.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You're admitting it. So that's another thing. Like you said, he's telling on himself in the interview. And then, for him to come out of left field and say, you remember that time when Professor Griff went nuts over in Switzerland? dude, what are you talking about?
And really, that's the thing. My thing of it is, really that audience for the Breakfast Club. I mean, it's a diverse audience, but there's a lot of young people. A lot of people don't even know who Professor Griff is. When he said about, oh, y'all should interview Chuck D or whatnot, a lot of people don't know who Chuck D is. I mean, I'm not trying to make, talk down about their legacy or anything like that. I'm just being truthful. Like, a lot of these kids don't know who they, and really, Leon is one reason why they don't.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, as far as, what he's promoting.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was just, it wasn't no reason for him to do that, but, it was almost like I just felt at times you could tell he was trying to shift the conversation to take away from other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk about that, so let me just throw this out there so we can shift the conversation a little bit. So, that's all he does. That's why I say he's real crafty with words. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he knows
you have
what he's
to
doing.
Pay attention to.
You gotta really pay attention. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's one of those people. He's very calculated. So that's what gets him by. You know what I mean? So we could definitely learn something from people like him, but he's definitely raping the culture, if you will. You know what I mean?
And the thing of it is, people are not really checking him about that. And he's not the only one. Dame Dash actually called out other people's name too. Was it Olfowitz? What's that? Green,
it was a female
Green
too.
Anway or something like that.
Yeah.
Was it Lauren Greenway or something
like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
He called out 2 or 3 different
names.
There's
a couple names.
He was like, I'll sit down with any of them and talk about this with them because they're all the same. And, basically these are the people who are behind the scenes that we don't know about, but that people like Dame have to deal with in order for their business to work out. You know what I mean? And so, I just, I would love to see a sit down between Dame and Lyor and any of those people that Dame talked about, those other executives, so that they can really hash it out. But they're not going to do it,
no.
Especially Lyor. He's not going to do it. You know what I mean? That was one of the things Joe Budden was talking about. He was like, well, I don't think he's scared to sit down with Dame. Yes, he is. That dude, he don't want no smoke with Dame. Trust me.
Dame's smart.
Yeah.
And Dame even said, like, really, we're smarter than they are.
Right.
Because the thing of it is like, these people, they're in here making all this money. They can't dance. They can't sing.
Right.
They can't even rap. They don't even promote the time. They don't even understand, what it is that, to make an artist. And that's one thing I will say about, him on the interview that he was talking about, the mentorship and the development. That is lost in the culture. Really, not just hip hop. It's pop culture, everything.
Absolutely.
There was a time, I think Omar Epps was actually talking about that on the Who Kid Hollywood Shuffle show.
Oh, okay.
That there was times that that you had to groom artists, that you had to make sure that the art
teach them artists.
Yeah, and that's really what gave that artist that shine. That's why you can look at him like, wow.
Yeah.
Now as a person, he may not be shit, but when he put on that artist is like him putting on like the cape and being Superman.
Right.
So when he got that little persona. So I'm gonna do this. But see, now it's kind of changed now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's right. That's why I say you can't really take that part of it away from him. But it's just like when Dame Dash was on the phone with Joe Budden on his podcast, he was saying, basically, I'm not taking that away from him, but it's just like someone who, what did he say? Someone who's a pedophile or whatever. They can do a ton of good in the community and a ton of good in the world, but if you're a pedophile, you're still a pedophile.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you can't just say, oh, well, he's done so much good for the community. Okay, but if you did something like pedophilia, you're still a pedophile. You can't weigh those two against each other and say, well, that doesn't count. You know what I mean? He raped that girl, but that don't count because he supported that charity. You know what I mean? It don't matter. So you gotta really, listen to stuff like that. You know what I mean? People like him get away with stuff because they've done some good for the culture. He has. I give him that. But you can tell that he's disingenuous and he's just trying to make himself rich off the culture. Because if hip hop were to die down right now, he would go wherever the money go. You know what I mean? He wouldn't just stay in it and say, I'm going to ride this thing out and I'm going to help bring hip hop back. I'm not, he wouldn't do that. A person like Rick Rubin would. But if hip hop were to die down right now, because it's the most popular form of music to this day.
Yeah, it's taking over.
And so if it were to die off right now and something like country music were to make a strong, stance in the music industry, he would jump on that. Because he just wants to make money off whatever's popping at the moment.
But the thing about rap, though, everybody's rapping now. Even in your country music.
Yeah,
everybody's rapping.
Everybody,
now.
pop stars is rapping.
Yeah, because it's just, what I'm saying? It's just it's the thing. And, people grown up with it. They like it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just like everybody's doing it.
Yep. Exactly. You know what I mean? So, that's the way I feel about him. I just feel like, he would just go where the money goes. You know what I mean? So.
But yeah, going to the Griffin.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Dominic said, "Fuck Lyor and Dame Dash." Why fuck Dame Dash?
Yeah,
what's wrong with Dame Dash?
What's wrong with Dash? Because really, Dash is really, I mean, he's the one who's really trying to fight for us right now.
I think you just so used to saying F everybody. You got to calm down, man. Yeah. Dame Dash is not the bad guy here. I think you might not be thinking that through.
He's a businessman. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be some things that's gonna come to business,
right?
But yeah, I don't think because when he sat down. I saw an interview where he sat down and talked with Redman. I think this was done probably about a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And he was talking about, hey, I don't have no problem with like Jay and Kanye making their money because I sat them down and taught them how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you want somebody in your corner, like, for that.
Yeah.
You want somebody that's teaching you how to do, not necessarily holding your hand and giving you money. Right. And I think that's the poison what Cohen is doing, because obviously, like his, at the end of the interview with was that Rich the Kid, who sounded like fuck entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fuck 300 entertainment, ENT, and all that stuff, and which that's a subsidiary of Atlantic Records. So Atlantic is still, a lot of these big conglomerate, record labels, they're still getting money. I mean, Atlantic's been in like the music industry for years,
right?
And they've done a lot of people dirty.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people dirty. Stax is one of them. It's not even hip hop. This is like slow soul. They're the people that have created the finding soul music. Did them dirty.
Right. Exactly.
Dirty.
Yeah.
So anywho, going back, but again, like I said, that if Rich the Kid was made with a Dame Dash, he made. I don't know if he would have been like superstar, but he'd probably have been relevant. He'd probably have some money and stuff stacked up in the vest, and then going to the 360 deal. Let's go ahead and talk about that, because there's a lot of things that need to be understood about that,
Yeah, I mean, the 360 deal, it's one of those things you can love it or hate it, because sometimes it does work in an artist's favor, but sometimes, it doesn't, because basically the 360 deal is where the record label gets a cut of every single thing you do. You know what I mean?
Touring,
when you go on the road,
merchandise,
motion. Not only your record sales, but everything you do. And, even if you, I think they can get money off of stuff like if you do book deals and stuff like that too. So it's like, once you start getting into other stuff, the record company still gets a part of everything you do. Whereas, a good record deal, they don't get all your publishing and all of that, and they don't own all your copyrights and all of that, and that's what the 360 deal does. It just gives them more power over everything you do, and so it works out in some artists' favor. Like they were talking about, like Rihanna and somebody like her.
Jay-Z signed one.
Yeah, so, you know, it works out for some artists because, you know, they're more so like, well, if I'm making a lot of money, that's cool.
Well, they're established too.
Right.
Like, you know, Rihanna ain't falling off anytime soon. And then Jay-Z, again, like Jay-Z is already kind of established. He's already got the money. And so, like, him doing that deal,
right,
that's getting more promotion out for him. And I think that's why he's kind of relevant in the, like in the music charts and stuff, you know, from over the years because, you know, he signed a deal, they're promoting him heavy.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically, you know, they're touching everything he got, but it's like, I already got money, so it's not really affecting me as if you're some new guy coming out, using a new artist, you sign a 360 deal, and then now it's like, you go hog wild, and then all of a sudden you realize, shit, I got to pay everything back. And, you know, okay, because the old days was to go out touring to get that money, because that was yours. But now they touching everything of that too.
Yeah. That was what most artists got most of their money off of, was going on tour, doing live shows, because that's where you really get to pocket a lot more money. But, you know, when you do that 360 deal, you know, you still not getting your money like that. You know what I mean? You may get money, but not nearly as much as you should, because you're the one out there breaking your back, sweating, and, you know, giving them people a show. But everybody else is in your pocket. As soon as that money come in, they're like, oh, here's my cut. Oh, let me get my cut. Let me get my cut.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And actually, I think the industry, overheard somewhere, like the music industry as a whole got like $43 billion of revenue. So they gave the artists, they gave the artists in the industry like a 12% cut. Out of $43 billion.
Wow.
12% cut. And you know, all the artists ain't gonna get that 12. You know, it's gonna be divvied up between them.
Little pieces of chump change divided among a few people, and so that's not cool at all, man. So, you know, but so many artists are starving just to get out there and make money that they take these deals, and they just like, you know, if you're willing to give me a deal, I'll take it. You know what I mean? But then later on, what's going to happen down the line, you're going to be mad because you done signed off on something, and now that you're older and understand the business more, now you're going to be like, oh man, I should have never done that. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is what it is, man. But
so what do you feel is the solution to this? I mean, hip hop, yes, it is a black culture thing. And with the help of a lot of, you know, white record labels and stuff, it did push, you know, it's pushing to, you know, to where it is now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like this juggernaut.
Right.
But where do we go now? Do black people get more labels? Do we, you know, because it'd be great. I would love to see Dame Dash and Professor Griff actually sit down to something and actually make something great. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That where you can have like the conscious rap, you can have the street rap, you can even have the bling mumbling shit, you know, with some precaution or whatnot, but still, you know, where you can have like a conglomerate and, you know, every you know, feed everybody. So what would that look like?
I mean, for me, you know, I do feel like things need to be different. You know what I mean? I think that we as the black community do need to work together more to get more of our people educated and helping out and doing more behind the scenes and not just being the artist. You know what I mean? Just like in stuff like the NBA and the NFL, you know, we need more of us as the owners, not just, you know, not just the work, not just the ones who out there breaking their back to make the money. You know what I mean? So.
And that's the thing too. I mean, that's the thing I have to say. It's just, you know, they make so much off of, especially like the beefs. That's something that Dave Dasher pointed out. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy like rap, like if it's just, you know, battling and like we're on wax and that's it, you know. Yeah. Like, but like the stuff like the Saxy 69, the Casanova's thing, like those type of beefs, that's not good.
Yeah, it's
that's not good.
That's beef. That's not battling. You know what I mean? So and that really got me because I didn't know about that. You know, Dame Dash was pointing out that a lot of companies like YouTube will actually pay artists to respond to beefs. You know what I mean? When somebody throws a shot at them, YouTube companies like that will actually pay them to respond to that person. So, you throwing money at somebody, of course they're gonna be like, oh yeah, let's get it popping. You know what I mean? Let's get that smoke going. So, come on, man. That you should be more vested in keeping the peace in the culture. I'll pay you not to respond. I'll pay you to take the high road. I'll pay you to make your money off of real good music, and that's it. You know what I mean? I didn't even know they did stuff like that. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, so I mean, you gotta think. I mean, that's a lot of, young kids. I mean, not just black, but a lot of young kids' lives, wasted and, destroyed. I mean, especially like when you think that Chicago, I mean, there's a lot of people that from Chicago have been killed behind beefs of that nature. I mean, now granted, I don't know if YouTube was actually behind pushing the response and stuff, but a lot of those kids, they died because, some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate.
But people like Lyor, what it is they see something that a lot of rappers have been talking about for years and years and years. You sell more when you die than when you're alive. You know what I mean? So you know how much revenue the music and movie industry has made off of Tupac and Biggie? I mean, there has been show after show
still making money. And still making money.
In 2018, they're still making money
off of it.
I mean, they did like three different specials this year. Like, it was a USA, I think, special. One of them channels, like USA, did a mini series about them. We got the movies. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff still being made all these years later. And so it's like, even though that's such a tragedy, they're still capitalizing off of it. And people like Lyor, that's what they like. They like to see stuff like that.
And, going back to what Dame said, they try to puff these beefs up, and you know what I'm saying, and it destroys everybody, and they move away, they make money, and then they just move on. So, yeah. I mean, we just need to be back in a position, everybody in hip hop, we need to be back in a position of helping each other, celebrating each other. You know what I'm saying? Now that's one thing I will say about towards the end of the interview that Leon that I agreed with is just that back in those days, of course, this is one of them trying to get it off hip hop off the ground. The label celebrated everybody. They celebrate, you know what I'm saying? Like Sleeping Bag would celebrate, Def Jam artists or, this, that, and the third. And, and vice versa. Well, I mean, I'll say it like this. The rappers were happy about each other. It wasn't really no real beef too much.
Yeah.
Maybe until the 90s, as far as like, that West Coast, East Coast thing, like, Tim Dog, coming out with stuff.
Right.
But even then, it was still like everybody had to, genuinely respect each other.
Right.
Until that split kind of came about.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It really is a sad day, but like I said, my hope is that we as a culture, as far as hip hop and just black people in general, learn to not be so divided, you know what I mean, and disjointed and all of that. Because if we can pull ourselves together, we will take over this whole world. Yep. And that's no shade towards white people or anything, but it's almost like a lot of black people feel like I'm good enough to be the artist, but I'm not good enough to be the executive. You know what I mean?
Better to be, you're more qualified to be, because I mean, you understand. The thing of it is, you understand the business. You understand what you have to do to be. That's why I kind of like artists like Redman kind of fell out with Def Jam and stuff. Because like when Jay-Z came along, they were, he was handling the promotion. But like Redman was like, look, we know how to get out in these streets and you know, Jay. I mean, Red don't have like no legitimate beef with Jay or
Right,
like
right,
that.
of course.
But it's just, you know, it's just that it was just kind of handled different. And that's kind of like what Cool J was saying. Just because you're a chef doesn't mean you should, you know, you cook a cake the best. Right. Doesn't mean you should get like a whole baker.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think teach some other people how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's why, you know, artists like KRS-One was talking about, you know, but I think it was on the, you know, the Hip Hop Awards. He's like, really, you know, Def Jam as a, you know, they're good because they got all these artists together, but as far as their legacy, and I guess what he was talking about is the other side. Like their legacy sucks because, you know, everybody had to compete with Def Jam. Def Jam was knocking down all these other artists.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah, man. So, you know, it's really deep when you really try to get into the culture of hip hop and how things should be. You know, you can't just be, to me, it's your responsibility to learn this culture and not just be a music fan. Not just, oh, I'm just going to listen to what's popping and that's as far as I know. But then when somebody asks you about something else behind the scenes, you're like, oh, I don't know nothing about that. You know, you want to be a part of this culture, you got to learn the culture. You know what I mean? Learn your history and understand so that we can start taking our rightful place in the culture. You know what I mean? Not just be the NBA players, but we can be the NBA owners. Not just be the rappers, but we can be the label executives and all of that. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of artists like Ludacris and all of them who have their own record label, but then they still sometimes have an executive like Lyor over them. You know what I mean? Who's that they still got to report to sometimes. You know what I mean? And so, and then what happens is a lot of artists feel like if I don't have a person like Lyor over me, I won't get all the support I need for my record label.
Or make correct decisions.
Right. Yeah, things won't work out. So that's what we got to get away from, where we're so dependent on people like him. Like I said, it's not a black-white thing. It's just a culture vulture thing. If you're really not in it for the love of the culture, I don't really want you in the culture.
Yeah, because trust me, there's a lot of black culture vultures.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, look at what happened with people like TL.
Sorry about that. More Avon says.
We back.
Sorry about
that. You know, like I'm saying, you know, we just really need to, you know, if you're really good at something, you need to teach others to help them come up. You know what I mean? Don't just say, you know, a rapper should stay in a rapper's place. We need to teach some of these people how to be executives so that when they get to the point where they don't want to rap anymore, they can be that executive and say, I know the culture, let me help the next person, and so forth and so on, and pay it forward and more forward. You know what I mean? That's what we don't do. We have a lot of people feeling like, oh, I got to stay in my place. I just know how to rap. You know, you got all these rappers who doing stuff like dropping out of school early. Those are the main ones who get to that point where they're like, oh, I just know how to put some words together, so I don't know nothing about all that executive stuff. And I'm saying, you know what I mean? I don't disrespect anybody or knock anybody. If you dropped out of school, that's cool. That's your business. But you still need to educate yourself.
Yes, sir.
Whether the school worked out for you or not, you need to have some books. Anybody, I think it was Malcolm X that said it. You know, he said the greatest university is a collection of books. You know what I mean? And that's one of those things. It don't matter if the school doctrine didn't work out for you. You still need to be educated. And that's one thing that I take pride in myself for doing, man, because I don't play with that. I picks up some books. And I'm reading, and I'm always reading, and that's why I like writing, because I want to share what I know with others. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, man, we need to educate ourselves on how to be not just the players, but the owners. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we need more of that.
That's definitely the big difference. And, you know, and that way we can, like I said, we can have a piece of our culture and stuff. And we'd be able to pass this along. And that's the thing. We'd be able to pass this along to our kids. We can actually say, hey, you know, I made it off of sucker MCs instead of, I mean, which was cool for him to say that, but at the same time, it's like, man, You done exploited, you know what I'm saying? You done exploited these people just to get to that point. Yeah. And really, if you didn't, you know what I'm saying? If you didn't get there, you wouldn't be in that country club with those people with city finance or whatever, not, you know. And, you know, I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking him for doing that. I'm not mad at him because he had to do what he had to, you know, he's doing to, you know, to make his business to get to that point. But it'd be great if someone from our culture was doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I will say. You know, a lot of us will try to, you know, we help each other more, but we only allow ourselves to take it so much to certain levels. You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah, I got a little brother, he want to rap. I'm going to help him learn how to rap. But, you know, what about learning how to be the boss? You know what I mean? Help him learn how to do that. You know what I mean? How to be the general. You know what I mean? So that's what we got to get. And they let a lot of these artists who aren't very intelligent just get out there and make a lot of money for them. And then when they're done with the artist, they get thrown away.
Yeah. Dr. Boyce Watkins was talking about that. They get them all high and doped up on drugs. Yeah. And then when they come back, I'm going to go back to the label to do something. Well, they like, well, you're useless. You're washed up. We don't need you anymore. Yeah. Now you dealt with that debt and all that other stuff. So, I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's a vicious cycle, and it just needs to stop. Because, again, like I said, we can get it to a point where we can pass this down to our kids. Yeah. And that hey, man, you know, you don't have to go get a job at fucking McDonald's or fucking Walmart or fucking work at some, you know, some Fortune 500 company, you know, that's ran by, you know, these cornballs over here won't let you express, won't let you be yourself. Now you can work over here. You know, we doing the thing. We got the culture. We got the flavor. Sorry, I'm gonna have to use that one. But we got the stuff over here, so we can, you know, that you can express yourself. You can be yourself. You don't have to put on nothing. You know, you don't have to put on no airs. You can make money and do good by yourself. And you know what I'm saying? You can promote stuff and actually help other people go along the way. It's a win-win. Yeah. That's the way we really need to be thinking now. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have money. There's nothing wrong with having money, but just flashing it and all that other stuff. Right. It's rolling like up to your ear. That's really messing us up.
You know what?
We need to educate.
You know, and I mean, think about this, man. You ever go into a Chinese restaurant that's ran by mostly black people or white people? I mean, most times when you go in places like that, or even Mexican restaurants, that's family up in there. You know what I mean? Because most of those kids who work in those places, they work there. As soon as they're old enough to make some money and smart, they family bring them in. You're going to work in my business, and we're going to keep it in the family, you know, blah, blah, blah. And that's the thing that we don't do enough of in our culture. You know what I mean? We just say, hey, go work at McDonald's or something. You know, we don't never say, I'm going to own my own business and bring my kids into it. Not that we don't never, but most of the time we don't.
And and honestly, that's a interview that you need to watch on Sway in the Morning. Dame Dash is actually talking about that. Yeah. You know, that your last name is more important than your first name. When you start thinking like that, it'll change your perspective. It really
exactly. Does. Yep. And that's the thing that I'm trying to do, you know, be an inspiration so that my kids will come up wanting to, you know what I mean, do something like what I'm doing. They don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but I want to be an inspiration to them so that they'll know, you know, that may be something that would be good for me if I can learn from him. Not just, you know, I'm 18 now, so I guess I got to go get a job at McDonald's and, you know, trying to work my way up through the ranks. You know, this week I'm mopping floors, next week it's the fries.
And then when I be shot up to management, and then the big bucks will come in.
Right. So, you know, it's like we don't have to always ship our kids off to doing stuff like that, man. You know what I mean? We need to get our own businesses more often. There's nothing wrong with having your own business. You don't always have to work for somebody else. You know what I mean? And that's the thing we don't see enough in the black community. You know, you see it in a lot of other cultures. Like I said, you go to a Chinese restaurant, most of them people up there is family. Yep. And if they're not family, most of them are close friends where they just like, no, we're going to keep it here. We're gonna keep it in our culture. You go to the Mexican restaurant, same thing. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not knocking them. That's what you're supposed to do.
It's not even that they're racist and they just keeping other cultures out. They're just pro at supporting their culture.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean.
That's nothing racist. We understand that.
Yeah.
You know, Asian people, they buy from only Asian people.
Right.
You know, but we're the only culture we buy from every damn body. I mean, I'm guilty. You know what I mean? We buy from every damn body, but we won't buy from us.
Because we're conditioned like that. You know, a lot of our parents don't really teach us stuff about stuff like that, trying to go into business for ourselves. Because of the generations that we came from, especially my generation, my father worked really hard, but he never said, I'm going to step out and do my own thing. You know, he just found a good job working, you know, in Manhattan, making good money, and he was just like, I'm happy with that, you know, and when I die, at least I'll die not broke. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that he took on. And so the thing about it is when he passed away, he was still kind of broke. Because you never actually ventured into doing your own thing where you can do things your way, where you see fit. And you can learn from people, but you know what I mean? Man, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get into business for myself so I can teach my kids how to run their own business. You know what I mean? And that's what we're not seeing enough of. So we're gonna definitely put a stop to that. And just to plug my own book again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go get this book, Subject to Change, Transformation Through the Power
I like
of
the way they
Perception.
did the back of that. I didn't see the back of it. Show the back of it, man.
I work hard on my stuff, man. So there's the front of the book, if y'all can see that. And then here's the back. Got a handsome guy on the back. Got my logo on there, my wordplay, publishing logo, tells a little story. So, you know, you got to do something that you can be proud of, man. And I'm very proud of myself for doing that because I always like writing and reading and all of that. And I never really took it serious until I got older. And I was just like, you know, why am I not doing nothing with this? You know, I like doing it, you know, and so I'm glad I decided to do something, man. Start chasing a dream and stuff, man. You know, you got to do something, man. You know, but we grew up in an age where, you know, when you start dreaming about stuff, they tell you, wake up, snap out of it. This is the real world.
Yeah, you got to work.
You know, in the real world, you got to go work at McDonald's.
Make them sandwiches.
Yeah. you remember them old commercials with the dude Calvin working at McDonald's? It was like back in the early 90s, late 80s. You know, it was like a dude named Calvin. You see him walking through his neighborhood. It looked like Brooklyn a little bit. And everybody just looking at him walking down the street. Oh, there go Calvin. And he like, yeah, I got me a job at McDonald's. You know, and it was just so, it was like, it was cool, but it was like they just put that vision in your head that that's the best you can do when you're a person of color.
Yep.
You know, you start from the bottom and you crawl as slow as you can up the ranks. And even when you crawl, you still ain't gonna get very far. You know what I mean? So I can't do that, man. I got to get my own thing.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm ranting a little bit, so let's get back on topic. What else was you trying to say, man?
I'm gonna say some quick stuff. We're gonna go back to the Griff interview.
Okay.
And touch on a little bit what Dame said, and then I think we will wrap it up. But yeah, it's just, you know, Griff was just saying the same way that they broke up Public Enemy was the same way that they broke up Rockefeller.
Yeah.
With Lenore. And you know, and the thing of it is, it's just, you know, what killed me, especially in that whole interview, they were saying that, you know, when he went up, he took Chuck D to the Holocaust. How come he didn't take Griff?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that right there was shady in itself.
Yeah.
And then what Griff was saying is like, Chuck D could have had a conversation, you know, with him. Chuck D could have had a conversation. Look, we trying to get this money, man.
Yeah.
So we can't really say as much. And then, you know, Griff was like, okay, that's fine. We could have worked, you know, especially when they were younger, that's fine. We could work this out where we won't have to, you know, it wouldn't have, you know, we'll still get the message out, but we can kind of water it down.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. You know, but the thing of it is just, you know, now Chuck didn't even respond to him about that.
Yeah.
He ain't really talked. I don't think Chuck has really talked to Griff in years about that.
Yeah. And I think Griff was saying that. He was like, we haven't really spoke. We haven't really tackled that whole issue to this day. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those conversations that need to be had. But I think what happens is people like Lyor start to, and that's not to even plug my book, but that's why I talk about perception a lot, because perception is one of those things. You once you get a certain perception in your head about something, that's what you're gonna act on. And so it's like when somebody like Lyor gets in your head and says Griff is not good for you, Griff is chaos, and Griff is this and that, you start looking at Griff a little bit different. Because Griff, he is very, boisterous, and he's very outspoken and all of that. But that doesn't mean he's bad for the situation. You know what I mean?
He wasn't bad for the culture, and that's the thing. Public Enemy was good for the culture, period.
Yeah.
But now, and not to say that NWA neutralized Public Enemy and all this stuff, and went on to gangster rap and whatnot. But the thing of it is, a lot of the masses were like waking up. And, Public Enemy, got black people saying, hey, man, I love you, man.
Yeah.
I love, so that might have been another reason they had to shut that down quick. Like, man,
exactly.
They knew that shit, people coming together. Yeah, we gotta, somebody kill somebody real quick. They had to do that shit. So,
and that's another thing you'll see a lot of. If you ever watched the Malcolm X movie, that movie talks about that, because basically when they see too much joining together in the masses when it comes to black people, somebody has to step in and say, no, it's getting too much.
Well, people in general, because there's no money off of people.
Right.
And that's why we got so many fucking wars.
Yeah, so it's like friction sells. You know what I mean? People just like to see some static, some smoke, because drama is what gets people's emotions riled up. You know what I mean? And it's like, it shouldn't be that way, but that's what our culture has made us accustomed to. But I've just decided to step out of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It does catch your eye sometimes, but if you get to the point like I do, when you see it, you just quickly divert back away from it. It's just like when you're on the highway and you see a car accident. You know what I mean? That's bad for what happened to the people. And so, because you just want to be so nosy, you just all looking at it like...
And they cause another accident.
Right, and next thing you know, you cause another one. So it's like, when I see stuff like that, I peep it, oh, okay, car accident, let me go ahead and get out of the way because I don't want to be the next one. You know what I mean? And that's what most people are not willing to do. They're not willing to just say, I don't need the drama, I'm going to turn away from it. You know what I mean? That's where we're all under this whole mass hypnosis, if you will. You know what I mean? Distracted by just reality TV and politics and it's too much, man. So that's why you should read this book that I'm doing, because it helps you to get away from that chaotic mindset. You know what I mean? It helps you really get yourself focused so that you can really start working on your own dreams and aspirations and all of that, man. I'm not trying to contribute to that. I stepped outside of that chaos. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad Griff had a chance to respond. He really just spoke his mind, and he's just the same old Professor Griff. He was just like, look, man, this is what it is. This is what I believe. He said, what I was stating was stuff that I heard from people like Elijah Muhammad and blah, blah, blah about white people. And, and I mean, that's his opinion. You know what I mean? And so you got to just respect the man's opinion.
We should get Griff on the show.
Man,
his number was on. He shot his number out a couple of times.
He sure did.
We might need to get. We might need to call. Yeah, we need to call.
Right, look here, bro. We need you on our podcast. Can we call you? Because that's basically what Joe Budden did. He called Dame Dash and just put the phone on speaker so people could hear his responses. So we might have to do that. Might have to call Professor Griff like, hey, because he seemed like a guy that would do it. You know what I mean? For the culture.
Mm-hmm.
So we can ask him some questions and more about how he feels, because he definitely sided with Dame Dash.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to see why.
So. I mean, And going back to Dame Dash, you know, I have to commend him for really, because he's really, you know, one thing is good. He's got his own money, so he's not really getting, you know, bullied by these guys and pressured by these guys. Second, you know, he's putting the pressure to them. And third, you know, he's been trying to tell people this for years. You know, hey, these are the people that's ruining this. We need to do something about this.
Exactly.
So, you know, hopefully, you know, like I said, it'd be good if he gets something together. But, you know, also, you know, we have to do something. You know, we can't, you know, we got to do something like as far as like, hey, you know, we're not going to buy these records anymore.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this anymore. And, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah, man. We just need to, you know, like I said, you know what I thought was so dope, man. You know, if anybody's familiar with the old school guy Andre Harrell, he's somebody who was working his way up in the executive part of the music. He started off as a rapper in an old school group called.
Fortune D's?
No, it was
that was on Sway in the Morning. I'm about to check that out, but continue.
I can't remember the name of his group, but they had some, you know, good famous songs back in like the 80s that a lot of people don't know about. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Andre Harrell was one of those two. So after they stopped making music, he got into being an executive with people like Puffy and all of them, you know, when they were working at Uptown Records and Motown, and, you know, he worked his way up, but, you know, he did make some mistakes, so I think he kind of bowed out and just got out of the game after a while. But that's the kind of thing that we need to see more of, you know what I mean, because he was doing it the right way. He was saying, you know, I'm not rapping anymore, but now I can teach these people what I know about the music industry from behind the scenes. You know, what's her name, Rhapsody, she was talking about it. She had a line in this song where from Black Thought's new album. You know, shout out to Black Thought. We might need to get him on the show. Come to our show, please, Black Thought. But anyway, so she said a line on the song she just did with him. Said, you know, I'm still mad at what y'all did to the Cold Crush. You know what I mean? Because artists like from back in the day, Furious 5, Cold Crush, Sugar Hill, they should be our executives right now. You know what I mean? They should be showing us what to do with the culture. But instead, you know, they don't get the chance to do that. They get kicked out as soon as they get too old. Oh, you're useless now.
And then also they bring the division between like the youth, and you know we really need to come together. Yeah. I mean, you know, and be able to build that for us. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, when we would come along, I guess our thing was like, you know, parent rebellion and everything like that. Right. But, I mean, that's different now. Yeah. Like, you know, because like you said, both parents and kids are listening to rap now. Yeah. So, but we all need to come together and kind of educate and kind of, you know, make sure this is going to be a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, you know, I hope that, you know, we start to see this throughout the industry, you know, where we really, if you really want to be woke, that's what you do. You know what I mean? Step your game up and do better instead of just, you know, just saying, I'm going to stay at this level. I'm good at this level. You know, I'm comfortable. People so, you know, used to just trying to be comfortable. You know what I mean? That just leads to complacency. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with comfort. I used to, because that's where I was raised up. You know, you just trying to find you get in where you can fit in and just get comfortable. You know what I mean? Nah, man, I'm over that, man.
I'm the main dude.
Yeah. Work somewhere, and then you retire when you're 65, and they'll give you a little gold watch. That's how they used to do back in the day. When you retire, they give you a gold watch, and they'll say, you know, we'll pay you a severance and all of that when you leave, and that was it, and you were just done. But, you know, I don't want to get to that point, because I'm realizing I don't want to retire and just sit back and do nothing. I want to stay busy to the day I die, man. Yep. The most influential people are the ones who just keep going and keep going.
That keeps your faculties in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you don't lose your, you know, if you keep working and stuff, that you know, you don't lose your mind.
Right. Exactly. So it's one of those things, man. I'm not doing that. I'm not retiring just so I can sit back and, you know, pop open a can or something and drink it in front of the TV for the rest of my life. I'm over that mentality. So, you know, if I get big, you know, doing stuff like my books and being a public speaker, I'm gonna keep doing that until I'm gone. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be no, oh well, I'm retired now. The only thing that can stop me is if my health is starting to fail. You know what I mean? So, you know, step your game up. You know, anybody who's watching, you know, step your game up, man. You know, we got to take it to the next level. That's how you really get woke. You know, get your conscious level up, your awareness, and do better for yourself. You know what I mean? But you want to add anything else?
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it, man. So, you know, just one more plug for my book, Subject to Change. Transformation Through the Power of Perception. It's, you know, it's a good book. It's a game changer, and I really feel like it's going to help change a lot of people's lives, man. You know, I'm just trying to spread a message and show people that it doesn't have to stop at a certain point. You know what I mean? You don't have to settle. You can do better for yourself, and hopefully this will inspire some people. And I know,
let's give a Curtis, man, round of applause, man, for real, man, because like doing that's a good thing, man, for what he's doing. And you know, I'm gonna pick up the book or whatnot, but you know, that's what I'm saying. That's something we can do. You don't have to necessarily be a rapper. Right. You know what I mean? That's one thing that's good about this. You don't have to necessarily be a rapper. You don't necessarily have to be, you know, making yourself a buffoon and whatnot. You can be intelligent. Make a, you know, write a book. Become a doctor. Become a lawyer. You know, you don't. You know what I'm saying? Do something that's, you know, that's gonna help us. Yeah. I mean, you know. And this is, I mean, I'm saying this mainly to black people, but that's towards anybody too. Anybody. Yeah. So yeah, but you know, make sure that you invest in yourself, and you know, do things like such as this. I'm not saying like you got to go out and write a book, but just make sure that you're doing something.
Do something that'll contribute to society. Yeah. You know, that'll help other people. You know, and that's what I'm passionate about, just trying to help other people. And, you know, I got a lot of plans in store for myself for the future, you know, as well. As long as things start taking off, I'm definitely going to step it up and do more, you know what I mean, for the community. So, definitely, you know, chase your dreams. That's all I'm going to say. Chase your dreams. You know what I mean? So, for Triad Hip Hop, this is your boy Kurt Dog.
And I'm Howie.
And we're going to see y'all next week. We're going to have our boy Kick Boy Triple on the show next week. We're going to interview him so we can put a spotlight on his music. For here, he's a local artist in the Triad, so look out for that next weekend. All right? Peace.